Hey, hey, Reb here. Rebecca, just not Becky. And Albert. And, oh, this is going to be difficult. Poppy. Or Poppy. Oh, I can't show it. There. Poppy Noel. You know, like Father Noel, but Poppy Noel? Yeah, that's him. All right, go. Okay, today's video, and the reason I'm wearing my ugly Christmas sweater and my holly hat is because today's video is about plants other than poinsettias and Christmas cactus or holiday cactus and Norfolk pines that can be used as Christmas decorations and Christmas plants, unusual plants that you can use to celebrate the holidays and decorate if you're sick of the same old plants. Plants that can be year-round, gorgeous plants that aren't the same grocery store, big box store, plants that everyone uses every year, year after year, forever. Because who wants to be like every other person in the history of the world? Not this girl. No, you may have gotten that idea by now. All right, so let's get started. And I tried not to make this a begonia video. So there's only one begonia, but let me tell you, we could go on and on and on about begonias because there are so many of them that have red backs and they're green and red and cool. But that's not today's video, so I only picked one. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants. So let's get started. Some of them are very, very common, and some of them are a little different, but they're all very cool. Okay. Let's start with one that's extraordinarily common, and it's in most grocery stores and big box stores. Okay, I did not dust any of these leaves. It's very real. Good, in the teddy. You've seen all of these in my very recent, hold on, 1 second. These might both be left-hand gloves. Yeah, these are both left-handed mittens. I had 2 pairs of these and I lost the right mittens to both. These are all plants you've seen in my recent houseplant tour. Recently moved to over 200 plant houseplant tour, which I will link here. Look, these are my Canadian gloves. Okay, let's take them off. This first plant, I still have the grocery store tag in, so I can tell you exactly what variety it is. Oh no. It fell out. Oh, for God's sake. It doesn't even have the variety's name. Of course it doesn't, because I got it at Aldi. It's an aglaonema, and all it says is, oh come on, red aglaonema. Damn it. It is red and green, and it's gorgeous, and it has lots of cool patterns. Now, this aglaonema, I forgot I had in my old place. I didn't have much room for plants, so they were shoved all over, and this was shoved behind Kevin's tank, Kevin's vivarium, my crested gecko, and I forgot it was there. So it went months without water, and it's still good. So when I dug it out, I thought I have to bring it along with me. So let's look. Look at the gorgeous color and the beautiful patterns on these leaves. Really heavy. Let's find some good ones. The stems are red, and the foliage is red. Isn't that beautiful and holiday looking? So, aglaonemas do really, really well in low light conditions. However, I think that they would lose some of their color the lower light you give it. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that, because remember, this channel is more about plantertainment than plant edumacation. However, I believe that that's the case, because that's the case with most plants. So, I believe that the more light you give it, the more color it's going to have. And I do have this in higher light. But from my personal experience, you don't have to water them very much. And I know that they do show you when you need water because they start to wilt, but when you give them a good soak, they come back pretty easily. So, according to Aldi, this is a red aglaonema. And I'll show it to you once again. Let's grab another one. Okay, let's go smaller because my arms are tired. Now, this is a very unexpected choice. This one I showed off in that plant tour, and it is a really unique plant and really, really cool. I know this one I got from Houseplant Heather. I don't know honestly where else to get it, but I know if you do a search, you're going to find it all over. But I would highly recommend going to Houseplant Heather on Etsy and checking if she has it in stock, because her stuff is very high quality and she has amazing shipping. Okay, this is the hibiscus, the sea hibiscus, and should we try to read the scientific name? Tilasius variegata, but it's the variegated sea hibiscus. Now, the new foliage comes out really bright red, and then it fades to totally to a green variegation. Check that out. So these leaves, the really red ones are the new ones, then it fades to this bright limey green, and after that it fades to a nice deep dark green. A Christmas green, if you will. So how unique is that? I hope you can see just how red those are. And the variegation is just so cool. Then it goes to this limey green and then dark green, the opposite of what you would expect. So, variegated sea hibiscus. Now, from my understanding and how I'm caring for it, it needs very bright light and it likes to remain fairly moist. So I don't let this dry out completely like I generally do with most of my plants. I have this under a grow light in my big, actually it's sitting right here in that window, under a Mars Hydro light that lights up that window as well. And it seems to like it. So, get one more look. I think that's a very cool alternative for a Christmassy decoration in your home. Okay, next. This one may surprise you because most people seem to think this is a summer plant, but I think it's very Christmassy. I'm very proud of this plant because it started as a leaf propagation, and it's the only one of this kind that I have been able to keep to keep thriving. Most of them have just started out beautiful when I bought them at a shop and faded and faded and faded, and I finally just got rid of them because they became very ugly. This was a leaf propagation from my friend Sue, and I got it in July of 19, and it has become this. It is a watermelon peperomia. Why on earth would a watermelon peperomia be good for Christmas, you ask? Let me tell you. Well, the leaves sort of look like ornaments, wouldn't you say? Picture those in the color gold or silver or even red, right? Can't you see an ornament with that pattern? The stripes, they're fairly round, they're kind of teardropped, but if you turn them upside down, let's see if I can do it. Okay, there. There. Picture that on your tree, hanging. Doesn't it look sort of like an ornament? Any of these. They sort of look like ornaments. Now, the stem is red. See if we can show you any of the stems, if the color will show. Oh, good God, there. Check out that bright red stem against that stunning crisp. Damn it, I broke off the flower. This is what the flower looks like, except picture it on the plant. Yep. Okay. So you saw the bright red stem and the beautiful Christmassy green. The stripes like an ornament. They bounce around like your cat is shaking your tree or your toddler. It is very Christmassy, don't you think? Watermelon peperomia. Now, the reason that this one has thrived for me is because I put it in this self-watering pot. It's actually an African violet pot. See? And then this normally has water in it. Right now it only has a tiny bit of water in it. Normally I keep a couple inches of water in it. Usually I fill it up a little too far, and then when I drop this in, water pours over the top and I make a really big mess. But because it's in this self-watering pot, it always remains just the right amount of moisture. It's the only way I've made this plant happy, and in very high light. I keep it on one of my shelves, my glass shelves in my bedroom that have just the strip LED under cabinet lights. I'll show you a picture. Ready? Right there. So that's how I keep this plant happy. And it's the only way I've ever been able to. Highlight, keep it moist, keep it in an African violet pot, and you're going to be good. Watermelon peperomia, not just for summer picnics. Nuts, I lied. There's 2 begonias because I couldn't stand it. Sorry. Okay, so this begonia is very Christmassy, and it happens to be blooming right for the holiday season. Now the blooms are pinks, too bad, sorry. I wish they were red because that would be really cool. But it has red undersides and it has long feathery leaves that kind of curl. So something about that really says Christmas season to me. This is the Steve's Leaves Begonia Penny Lane or Penny Lawn. I really don't know for sure how to say it because the Penny Lawn or Penny Lane is spelled L-A-H-N. I highly recommend this begonia. It's so pretty and delicate and feminine looking. Just like me. I've always been called delicate and pretty my whole life. I'm a delicate flower. Okay. This, oh boy, that's going to be hard to see. So this is the begonia. See those long, feathery leaves? The lower ones are even longer and more feathery. And then the backs are these beautiful burgundy color. So it's a really pretty emerald green on top. And then that beautiful red holiday color. So really, it's kind of the same colors as same colors as a poinsettia, but so much cooler. And it's a cane type begonia, so they're really pretty easy. I give it a lot of humidity. It's actually sitting near my humidifier, and it's always done really, really well. So really, I treat almost all of my begonias the same. Everyone's so scared of begonias, but they're really, really not that hard. I keep it sitting by my humidifier on my begonia shelf, which I have shown before. But the only 2 begonias that I put any energy into really are my amphioxus. Oh, I think I'm going to show that for one specific reason. And my Begonia melanobalata, which I talk about all the time, those two. Those are the only two. I make sure they're still in open air. They're not in enclosures. They're not in terrariums. I just make sure that my humidifier mist is landing on them. So they're like basically at 100% humidity. This one's nearby. It's on the same shelf, but the mist doesn't truly hit it. It just flies over the top of it. It gets a mist flyby. But really, other than that, I treat them all the same. I let them dry out pretty much completely. When I stick my moisture meter down in them, it's at like a 1. So it's pretty much the way I treat all my houseplants, except for that watermelon peperomia. So honestly, easier than a watermelon peperomia. And they come, when these blooms are just getting going, but they're this beautiful pink color, and they're not a typical begonia blossom. They come out looking kind of similar to a tiny, tiny miniature snapdragon, but they're a light pink into a really deep, deep rosy pink. They're just gorgeous. So, Steve's leaves, Begonia, Penny Lane, or Penny Lawn. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know anything. I know nothing. That's what my dad always told me. He also always told me, well, sometimes when he was nice, he'd say I was finer than frog's hair. Most of the time, if someone said, she's funny, he would say, yep, she's funny. Funny looking. Don't worry, it was kind of a term of endearment. My dad, that's where I got my personality. Yep. There were lots of things like that. Okay, moving on. I'm going to show you that other begonia. In fact, it was the amphioxus, and I'll tell you why. Okay, this is one that's not for a beginner begonia person, but I'm going to show it to you because it's very Nightmare Before Christmas. And I know that's technically Halloween, right? I'm not real familiar, but it's very Burton. So if you want one that's a weird Christmas kind of plant, this is the one for you. It's very wonky and weird shaped, right? Kind of monstery. And the leaves, oh dear God, there. The leaves are crazy weird. They are, we're going to call them red and green spots, but it's really hot pink. I don't know if you're really getting a view because number one, my whole tremor, don't worry, it's not Parkinson's, but it's like the Parkinson's tremor without the Parkinson's. Again, that's something I got from my dad. I just got it a little early, like way early. I've had it a long time. Familial essential tremor. Okay, there. Try to brace it. There we go. Okay. So check out the structure. Okay, I'll be very quick on that because it's just Nightmare Before Christmas begonia. Okay. This one is an elephant bush, but this is, I think it's called elephant bush narrow form, and it's a different color than your standard elephant bush. And when I was at my last video, hold on, in my last video, when I did a cheap gifts to ask for and houseplant shopping at Lowe's and Home Depot, which I'll link here. They happen to have a whole bunch of these. I was really surprised because usually I don't see this variety, but this is an elephant bush variety, and it's very bright green, and it has bright red stems. This is mine. I did not buy it this large. It's grown very, very fast, and it's a type of succulent, so it's very easy, and I'm not a succulent person, but this one is so cool and different, and how Christmassy, because it's bright green and red. So this is this elephant bush, I believe narrow form, because the leaves are smaller. It kind of looks like a very etchiated a very stretched out jade plant almost, and you know jades are my favorite. I really want a really large jade, but I like them all. Okay, now let me see if I can show you the red stems, if they'll pick up. I don't think they're gonna pick up. Where's a really good one? It's gonna look brown, I think, on here. In person or in the light, they look really, really red, but I think they look brown on camera. You might just have to trust me. But in person, they look very, very red. And the leaves are very green. So, and it's very wiggly. So I would highly recommend this. This is one that I get very bright light. It always sits right by. This one is sitting in my south window in my bedroom. And again, it has some of my spirally, very cheap Lowe's or Amazon daylight bulbs that I get for a pack of 4 for like $12 or less. So it has supplemental lighting, but it sits in my south window. And I water it when it's fully dry. Easy and very, I think, Christmassy. And I wish you could see how red the stems are, but you can't. I'm sad for you. This is one of my favorite plants, and I showed it in that video too. It sits on a window ledge in my south window, but it used to sit in my east facing window at my old place. It started out as a cutting this big, and it has grown into the weirdest, wonkiest, coolest plant. It is called Peperomia red log. It's another one with green tops and red bottoms, and it is perfectly Christmassy. This is the plant. Now, when you first get it, before it gets really long and weird, they stick straight up, and the leaves are kind of stacked, pointing down against the stem, and it looks like a log. Maybe you could say a Yule log, but I don't know what a Yule log looks like at all. However, once they get long, if you let them get long, they start doing this. Look at those colors. Could you get more Christmassy than that? They are incredibly easy to propagate. It's kind of basically like a succulent. The leaves fall off into the soil and they soon sprout new stems. Like I said, this was a little tiny stem cutting, and now it is this, and I have taken a bunch of cuttings off of it to give away, and it's still like this. And it hasn't been around for that long. It was summer 2019, so not even a year and a half. I highly recommend it. They start to branch off a little bit. To actually just try to propagate them, you can cut off a bunch and put it in water, put it in moss, or take leaves and lay them in a circle on the soil, and they sprout just like how you would do a succulent leaf. They are so easy. I set this right in the window. You can put it in bright or medium light window, and you leave it alone. You dry it when it's you water it when it's totally dry. And the colors when it's sitting in a window is spectacular. So again, look at those colors. Peperomia red log. We'll do one more begonia, and then we have one more plant. Okay, this is another Steve's Leaves begonia, where Darren just makes these begonias out of nothing because he's a magician. I think he pulls off his top hat and he goes like this, and he hits it with the magic wand. A begonia, a new totally new begonia pops out. And this one is called Begonia Yellow Jacket. And if you don't see Christmas in this one, I don't know what's wrong with you. Sorry. Look at the color. If the bloom was not yellow, but that's where it gets its name. I mean, imagine that, but still there's red on the bloom. This thing blooms constantly. This is on its way out, which is why there's only a few of them. But look at the deep, rich red of these leaves. And then some of them, kabam. Oh, damn. Red and green. But most of mine are just red. Now, when the light shines through them, which you're not going to see because the light is there, not there, but in my view, the light's shining through it, it is spectacular. So, this begonia says nothing but Christmas to me. Imagine that instead of a poinsettia. It's the same color. It's gorgeous. This one, oh, and it's got fuzzy stems. Look at that new stem. Or, yeah, new stem coming up. Okay. Fuzzy. Is a poinsettia fuzzy? No, it's not. And this one is another one that I let dry completely out. Completely. Like all of my other houseplants. Except for the watermelon peperomia. Gorgeous. So beautiful. And look at that wonky growth structure and the massive red leaves. Okay. Last plant. Another one you would never expect for Christmas. And I apologize to all of the non-Christmas celebrating people out there who are like, I'm so sick of Vlogmas and Plantmas and what plants are good for Christmas and ugly Christmas sweaters and ugly Christmas pots and all of that. I know there's a million out there who celebrate all sorts of other holidays at this time of year. I am sorry. This must suck for you. It must. Anyway, know that my heart goes out to you, but we got to come up with content. I should try to figure out a way to do like a Kwanzaa video and a Hanukkah video and all sorts of other holidays that are around this time of the year. I should really think of a way to do that. Although I probably would end up making it insensitive because I don't know enough about them, even though I can research the heck out of them. But I'm still afraid it would be insensitive somehow. So maybe I should just make it enough to say, I apologize and I care and I wish you the very happiest holiday season. From the bottom of my heart. Now let's do the last Christmas alternative plant. And this is a weird one. It is called Aloe AJR, which is an odd name for a plant. Aloe AJR. I got this from Kel's Succulent Shop on Etsy. She is spectacular. I will link her shop in the description. Look at this aloe. It has red, very sharp teeth, and the more light you give it, the more red it is. Mine is not terribly red right now, but I hope that you can kind of see it. And it looks like a star with dirt falling from it from the top. Just pretend that the dirt falling is shooting stars. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's lots of it. Lots of shooting stars. Can you see the red edges and the beautiful green? And there's this cool bumpy texture to the whole thing. I just love it. Can you see the teeth? Yeah. Aloe AJR. Go to Kel's Succulent Shop. She has more than just succulents. In fact, it's where I got my first string of hearts You can kind of see it in silhouette right there. That's the one that I've had for a long time. Okay, this one, obviously I treat like any other succulent or aloe. It needs very bright to bright medium light, although it's going to do fine. I mean, this one is it's got spikes all over it, and they're good and spiky. It has done really, really well for me. It's much easier to care for than a regular aloe. I let it dry out all the way, and I soak it, and that's it. Okay, it's a slow grower though. It is. It's more like a cactus than an aloe. I hope you enjoyed learning about some alternative plants to the typical, traditional Christmas holiday plants that you find everywhere. Poinsettias, Thanksgiving and Christmas cactus, and Norfolk pines. Now, I have a Thanksgiving cactus and maybe a Christmas cactus, I think it is, and I have a Norfolk pine that I just got for the new place. They're all beautiful, except I'm not a crazy fan of poinsettias. Some of them are pretty, I like the hot pink ones. But I think it's fun to have alternatives to decorate, because there are alternatives, and they're cool all year round too. You don't always have to be like everyone else. There's beauty in differences, just like people. Okay, now I think I said my other hat was a holly hat. It wasn't. I think it was a jolly hat, wasn't it? Yeah, I was wearing a jolly hat. This is my holly hat. So, I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season, not just Christmas, but Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and all of the ones that I may not be aware of and I may be forgetting. But you all deserve joy and peace and wonder and kindness and a crack-free holiday season. And we hope you have a plantastic day. Don't we, Albert? We do. Be kind. Just be kind. And don't move. All right. We will see you next time.